It's lager time. Yay! Lager time. Poems, stories and thoughts. By me, Paul Cree. Who else?
Greetings, bonjour, what's happening? Welcome to Lager Time. My name is Paul Cree. Lager Time is my podcast where I share bits of work, bits of writing that I'm working on. That's my dog in the background. It's really hot. Got the studio door open and the window, so you may hear a few background noises. But yeah, hello. No, there was no episode last week. I hope no one panicked. It was a bit of a difficult week last week, so I decided not to do it. But today, can pick back up where I was 2 weeks ago. So with a couple more poems. Today, the two poems I'm going to do, two poems that I used to perform a hell of a lot. So, it's nice to bring them back out again. So what's been happening? Well, last week, England crashed out of the World Cup semi-final, as I'm sure most of you know. So obviously I was there watching, very disappointing. I have a few things to say on it, but nothing that no one else has said. It's a familiar path. It's like history repeating itself, going deep and all of that stuff. However, I think they've got to keep going. Hopefully Tuchel and the squad will learn from this, that it just doesn't work when you do that. We got punished. But I was watching the game locally here in Plumstead. I was watching it at, with some family and a couple of mates at a social club. And not long after England had gone 1-0 up, I looked at my phone. Now, in this place, there's not a lot of phone signal, so it goes in and out. And I had a load of messages on my phone. And I found out that a very close family member had passed away just before the game kicked off. So everything was put into perspective in that moment. It hit me quite hard. I didn't really want to be there. And it's been quite tough last few days after that, all week really, as death often is when it's someone close. But yeah, I didn't really want to, obviously I wasn't that bothered about the England result in the moment really. I was concerned with, my family and in a little bit of shock and disbelief, but it put things into perspective. And it's interesting over this last week, really, in times like this, how cliches, particularly about death, can suddenly become very meaningful. Lots of the typical death cliches you hear were very applicable in this situation. But, a week's gone past, week and a couple of days, and life moves on. I've also been busy, really, trying to sort out some work. All my projects are finished now, so I've been trying to drum up some work and stuff, and so that's mostly where my focus has been, that on walking dogs and whatever else. However, the few days after it happened, the England stuff was a little bit of distraction. I could focus on all of the ridiculous knee-jerk reactions to the result. I was taking a swig of the beer. But anyway, here we are. I'm back in the booth. I've been pretty busy this week, cracking on. I just recorded a couple more poems for the audio project of the Suburban, which is what this is. Also had a couple of bits of good news this week. So What We Do When We Can't Dance, which is the touring theatre show from Dream Arts Rep, who I work with. It's a company of young refugee artists. They make a new show every year and they tour it. So if you listen regularly, you probably know I've done a lot of work on that project last few years. This year, step back from the day-to-day, but I've produced all the music in the show. It's like 17 tracks. And I've also, that's my dogs in the background. I've also written all the scripts alongside the directors. But anyway, today we're in Litchfield recently, and they got a 5-star review. A local reviewer went in there, Litchfield Times, I think it is. They got a banging 5-star review. It's the first one. I think it might actually be the only second review of the show. But yeah, really chuffed. It's a really good show, and everyone is delighted. The whole creative team. So large up Catherine Palmer, Alfie O'Neill. They're the directors. Jesse Hawkins, the costume designer, set designer. Graham Whitlock, all the DreamWorks crew, and everyone else involved in that project, and of course all the young people. So I was very happy to hear that. I'll post a link to the review if anyone's interested in the notes for the show. Also, had another little bit of good news was sometime last year, or maybe the year before that, I can't remember, but I recorded some vocals for some drum and bass tracks by a producer called KIMBR, who's a very good, sick drum and bass producer from Bristol. He sent me over some beats, and I wrote some verses and recorded them. They're now going to be released, or this one track is part of an EP he's got coming out called Becoming the Sound. It's KIMBR, KIMBR from Bristol. So it's kind of, I don't know what the date is just yet, but it's going to be coming out on Architecture Recordings. Architecture Recordings is the home of DJ Ink, as in Loxy and Ink. So if you're a drum and bass head, you know, like I grew up on, really came of age to drum and bass, and that's how I started MCing. Loxy and Ink, legends, metalheads, very tough beats. So I'm delighted. That's going to be coming out in a couple of weeks. And then I made a little video for Gobshy off the More 64s of Boredom EP. Just filmed it in the studio here. Got the very basic camera kit out that I've got. Still managed to make a mess of it. There's a big old shadow in the video, but I'm quite pleased with it all in all. Took me a while to do it, but you can go see that, so you can see me rap the whole track live with all the samples loaded into my loop station. So I'm cutting them in and out, and it's done all right. It's currently sitting on a 500 odd views on Instagram and whatever else, which is a lot for me. So yeah, I'm chuffed for that. I think that's about it. But yeah, of course you can go stream and download More 64s of Boredom. I'll put a link to the video in there. So yeah, so on to the poems. I'm going to do 2. So as a little reminder, in 2018, I had my first book come out called The Suburban, which is a collection of poems and stories, which really comprised, the majority of it was all pieces, not all of it, but the majority was all pieces I used to perform quite regularly in the 10 years running up to that. And what I've done is I decided I wanted to do an audiobook for it. So I've gone through the book. I've selected some poems. The book is in 3 parts. So what you're going to hear tonight is the last 2 from the first part, which I can't remember their names, to be honest. The names of the parts, but I know the names of the poems, obviously. But yeah, so I've been going through and recording those, and I hope to be putting it out in a couple of months. Yeah, I didn't do much recording last week. Of just, you know, with everything going on, I've also been trying to focus my energies on where it needs to be right now. But yeah, so tonight I'm going to do 2 poems. One called Whoever Said It Was Easy, and one called London Calling. Now, these 2 are ones I used to perform a lot. The first one, Whoever Said It Was Easy, I wrote it for specifically to do in schools and youth events. I was asked to write a poem one time many years ago for some youth event. I can't remember which one it was. So I wrote it, and I've gone on to perform it in lots of places. I still use it from time to time, mainly in like school settings, that kind of thing. And then the second one was called London Calling, which was like, for a long time, was like a signature piece. And I just recorded it just before doing this. It's the first time I've read it, looked at it in a long time. Gosh, you can hear my dogs going nuts. But I'm going to do these and then that's it. We're done. So whoever said it was easy. Getting out of bed on time. Eating breakfast if you're lucky. Jump in the shower, pack your bag, brush your teeth. Look in the mirror, check for spots, do your hair. Open the door, wrap up warm, say goodbye, step out your house and bop to the bus stop all the while trying to look cool? That's hard. All of that, 5 days a week, is hard. Getting on the bus and being cussed because your team lost the night before. Or the trainers that you're wearing represent what your mum and dad can't afford. Or your jumper, shirt and trousers were what your older brother was wearing the year before. Or there's a girl sitting 2 seats behind you that you fancy for 2 years and you know that she has her hair in a bun on Mondays and Thursdays, wears eyeshadow on a Friday but doesn't get the bus home because of drama class, yet she doesn't even know your name? That's hard. All of that, 5 days a week, is hard. Sitting in class and no matter how hard you try, you just can't understand what's going on. Or you're studying so many subjects in one afternoon you get confused. Or the pressure of hitting those high grades just to hold down that uni place. That's hard. Having the answer to the one question that at some point in your school life you will be asked. What do you want to be when you leave? To even have an inkling of an answer. That's hard. But what's really hard, what is incredibly hard, what is university challenge hard is when you know what you want. When you know what you want to be, whatever that may be, but it seems everyone around you wants to tell you you can't. You can't. You can't do that. People like you don't do that. I've never done that, so you can't do that, you can't. It's as delicate as an egg, balanced on the slight curvature of a spoon, then placed into a race on school sports day. A plant trying to lay roots in shallow soil subjected to wind. A thin plastic black and white 99p football that makes a ping when kicked and goes off in the wrong direction, floating in slow motion into a bush full of stinging nettles watched by a rabble of open-mouthed young boys. An adult robin leaving a nest full of chicks unattended for a split second under the swooping shadow of a magpie. All because someone says, white boys don't make rappers, black boys don't make painters, brown boys don't make footballers, girls don't sit on boards of big businesses, state school kids don't make prime ministers. For every one can, there must be about 1,000 can'ts. That's like a 1 in 1,000 chance of making a can in actuality. It's like trying to hum your own tune in a packed stadium singing a football chant. That one can is still a chance, and I would rather fail, knowing that I'd at least try to give in to the voices telling me that I can't. And there's a lot of them. And yes, it is hard, but it gets easier. Whoever said it was easy, there you go. Yep, I probably wouldn't write something like that now these days, but it's served me well, that poem, over the years, and I meant it. Sometimes when I've performed it, I change a lot of the things in it. Sometimes I kind of improvise, stuff like that. But there you go. Last one I'm going to do is called London Calling. Yeah, this used to be a signature piece. There is a video somewhere on YouTube. There's an event called Spit It Out somewhere up in North London. Large up Kev, if he's still around. I was sitting in this cafe, filmed it. It's probably about 10, 15 years old. Anyway, London Calling. Some people see race. Some people see class. Some people see religion. Some people see all three and make a counterfeit informed decision about your upbringing in order to package it into a little box, gaffer taping the flaps and placing it onto a shelf with millions of other boxes, categorized and subcategorized with the precision of German engineering. Some boxes don't fit their space. Some boxes need to find another place, whether or not it's miscellaneous. Some say living is like a box, according to the box. Outside the M25, believe it or not, life exists. Restricted to the drips from the city's residue, London's heat creates a condensation providing a smokescreen some call the suburban dream. I pricked that little bubble because there weren't enough holes in the commuter belt left to keep me from being exposed. The fire in my belly was on the verge of being extinguished, ready to relinquish any creativity and submit to a well-doctored dose of docile normality. Revolving around the security of a reasonable salary, whatever's on the telly, holidays to Malaga and a small-town mentality. I had to escape from my sanity, make a break for the city where hostility forms the reception committee. But hostility creates, or breaks, an attitude that wants to set the pace, wants to win that race, then keep on running. The fight for space keeps the fire in my belly burning. The competitive nature draws creators, innovators and paper chasers, consumers and commuters wanting a piece of the pie. Opportunities arise to match the heights of living in a high rise. In my eyes, this is where I need to be. Don't know if it's where I belong, but I'm here to figure that out. The heat keeps the flame from going out, and when the fire's out, I'm out. Ready to call it quits. Got nothing against my small town upbringing, but for me, my little box just didn't fit. The ability to exist and not be seen. The ability to find a scene within a scene that suits your means. The ability to be seen and live some kind of dream. The ability to get on a bus that back home you only see on a screen. The ability to witness poverty and wealth on the same street and measure the extremes. The ability to be in a city with a queen. The ability to become a fiend regardless of means. The ability in London to end every single sentence with yeah, safe, blessed, sweet, you get me still seen. Are most people understanding what you mean? Do you know what I mean? Seen. Someone once told me that Hollywood, an apparent city of dreams, behind the scenes can be a haven for drug addicts, prostitutes and abject poverty. For some, I understand London can be a cruel lottery. You don't know when your numbers are up. For me, whatever my luck, I know in this city I've got a better chance of finding a space for my little box, whether or not it's Cardboard City or Kensington. If not, I might as well go back to my place of birth, close the flaps on my box and suffocate under the gaffer tape. Consumed with bitterness about how much I don't like the place, and if I was given half a chance I could have been someone. Well, enough of that. I'm up in London now. There's work to be done. There you go. Thank you very much for listening to this week. My wife is now phoning me, so I need to get off recording and probably go and sort the dogs out for dinner. But I hope you all have a lovely weekend. Links to music, shows, reviews, all that good stuff. Peas and taters, Paul.
It's longer time. Yay! Lager time. Poems, stories and thoughts. By me, Paul Cree. Who else?